Okay, I'm going to move on to the second line that appears under the rhythm generation tab in the Midi Mutator. And this for me is a bit of a head scratcher, but I think I've got I understand it partially, or I'm partially the way there. In any event, if we look at the hints, they're not popping up, but in any event, let me show you what I've set this to 16ths. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Select division. Okay, so I've set the division to 16ths, and then here select allowed note lengths in division units. So let me back up. The first thing to say about this second line is that these are ways of affecting the note lengths, whereas the first line is about note patterns. So this one here is note lengths, and that's why we have this list of possible note lengths which go from a 16th note in 16th note increments up to 8/16ths, which would be a half note. So we're going from a 16th up to a half. Now the event length, I'm thinking that that's kind of the overall length of the pattern. So let me click on this and you'll see what happens. Okay, so we've set the allowed note lengths. We only have one allowed note length, and that's 3/16ths. So if you look at these notes, most of them are 3/16ths. The exception is this A in measure 1 and this G in measure 2. So what I'm thinking is that this tool, this algorithm, is operating on one measure at a time. And because 3/16ths, this note length doesn't fit easily into 4/4 time, it's adding a little tail here. So that's my guess on that. So again, you see what we want to note is that the pattern in measure 1 is the same pattern in measure 2 and the same pattern in measure 3, except there's no tail, and that's probably because our original pattern was a certain length, if that makes any sense. So all right, but in any event, we selected 3/16ths, and pretty much we can say that with the exception of these two notes, all this pattern has done is just changed the quarter notes into 3/16th notes, right? I mean, that's essentially what happened. So if we click on 4/16ths, then I'm going to anticipate that all these notes become 4/16ths, which is a quarter, and then these little tails will disappear because that fits evenly into what we've got here. So let's try that. I'll do 4/16ths, and I'll unclick 3/16ths. I've got to do that. And okay, exactly what I anticipated happened. Okay, so we just changed all the notes to 4/16ths. Now if I go 5/16ths, I think we're going to end up with another tail. And I'll unclick 4/16ths, and so yeah, now we've got 3 5/16ths and a tail, 3 5/16ths and a tail, 3 5/16ths and a tail, and this time we've got the 3 5/16 and a tail because it happens to fit, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty logical for the most part. So if we do 6/16ths, let's unclick that, go to 6/16ths, which is a dotted quarter, right? And that's what what we've got here. We've got a dotted quarter, and then just a quarter to fill up the measure. So the one important takeaway is that it seems like this algorithm, if that's what you want to call it, or this operator, maybe that's a better term, is operating under one measure phrases. It's taking one measure at a time. Okay, which is why we get a tail at the end of each measure, because it's trying to fill out the measure, and it can't put another dotted quarter in because there's not enough room in 4/4 time. Now, if we were in another time signature, things are going to be different. So I think we've got that kind of nailed home. Now let's do 7/16. Yep, that's the expected behavior. We've got two of them and then a tail, two of them and a tail. And here, because we kind of ran out of room, we've got some overlap. But I'm not going to try to exactly explain that. I think that the bottom line is that depending on how many measures you have and how many notes, your last measure may end up to be a little screwy. But that's no problem. We can just eliminate those notes. So unclick 7/16 and then 8/16, which are half notes. And so that's what we see. And we see some overlap. Like here we've got 5 notes, or 6 rather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 notes, and there's some overlap. So I don't think you get good results when you don't have enough measures to give the operator space when you're using very long note lengths. Okay, but if we go to just 16th, take off 8s, then there's no aberration here because it's just all 16ths and they fit in. And yeah, now if we go to 2/16, which is an 1/8, see what happens there. Oh, we still, now notice that I didn't take off 16ths and an 1/8. So you can combine these note lengths. You can combine them, and this is where the lightning, hitting this again would change the combination of 8s and 16ths. But that's what this is going to give you. The 2/16 is an 1/8, and then the 1/16. So the algorithm is giving you some combination of those two note lengths. Okay, and we could even hit 3/16, and then we get a combination of here's a 3/16, a 1, a 2, and so on. And again, it seems, let's double check if this pattern's repeating. Yes, this pattern is repeating. Okay, so that's basically how that works. The one thing we haven't played with is this division. So let's go back. We'll hit 2/16, which would be an 1/8, and then if we change this division to an 1/8, it turns the 16ths into quarters. Let's see if we do 1/16, turns them into 16th into 1/16 and 2/16. So it is changing the notes into 1/8 notes, but the division is 1/16. Let's try this. Not too sure about this one. I'll have to come back to that. But in any event, I think we're kind of 90% to the point of understanding how this second line, this algorithm, in other words, modern, how this is something we can use to, change the note lengths. Okay? All right. See you in the next video.